When it comes to preparing for an event or a game, there's a lot of things you really need to consider. Luckily, you won't have to do that by yourself because I, Seth from Seth's Ner-Fun, am going to give you guys some tips and tricks for our upcoming Nerf event, Infected. For those of you who may not know, Infected is our HvZ, humans versus zombies, survival type game that we do here in Southwest Florida. Last year, we kind of had a taste of that, but it was a little bit of an interesting event that we did, little new style we wanted to try. But this year we are doing it very much so like an actual HvZ. So I wanted to come out here and give you guys a couple of tricks and tips on what you can do to prepare for an HvZ. Also, I'm gonna say this too, this is gonna be a multi-part series, so this is just gonna be introduction into what to expect and how you should prepare, but there are also gonna be other videos on different subjects which we'll cover at a different time. But all of these videos are all leading up to our event. The first thing that people really get stuck on is, I just need the biggest and best and craziest blaster just to wipe out everybody, nobody's gonna touch me. Here's the issue with that. Now this whole setup here may look crazy, cool, and fun, but you wanna know what isn't fun? Attempting to reload. Carrying the biggest and best blasters usually means you're gonna have to reload at some point. Even a blaster that carries 45 darts like this, or a magazine-fed blaster, or a turret-type blaster, you're still gonna need to reload. And carrying all the biggest and best blasters won't be useful for you if you don't have any means of reloading. So, in my opinion, stick to one main blaster and have side blasters. Don't just carry all the big ones because it's not really gonna help you. It's just gonna make it harder for you. Trust me, been there, done that. Don't make that same mistake. What blaster should I run then? If I should only run, one main blaster and other side blasters, what should I run then? Well, it really depends on your style of play. If you're somebody who really likes to be tactical and all super SWAT looking-esque, these might be some blaster types for you. The first piece of that whole tactical bit is gear. You're gonna need some means of holding extra stuff on you, whether it's a tactical vest, a dump pouch of sorts, preferably Velcro so stuff doesn't fall out or drawstring, a backpack or a bag to hold things on or in, because sometimes you can have tactical backpacks with like Velcro or straps on it. This is just a normal backpack that you can just throw on just to hold extra stuff in. But some means of holding extra things on you. And I'm not just talking about holding your blaster on you, because there's other things you can use for that too. For example, a dump pouch that can act as a holster. In general, dump pouches are just good to have because they are very useful for so many different things, but having one as a dedicated holster is also something very useful. Obviously, you might want to have something that fits your blaster a little bit better or get it to the right positioning that works for you, but a dump pouch as a means to hold blasters is a very good idea. A sling. In fact, this is how I ran 2 blasters at Maryland Mayhem this year. Was 2 of them on slings on either side of me. And actually it was 2 barrel breaks. Not this one exactly, but just have a sling on you. It keeps the small blasters handy, and if you want, you can also put your bigger blaster on the sling. That way if you need to go hands-free, you can. Now that's all just holding blasters or holding stuff on your person. But what about specifically blasters that you should use? Well, once again, there's quite a variety depending on what your play style is. For example, if you want to go like a simple route, like most people usually do, you can do something or use something like this. Shotguns. Shotguns are very useful in HvZs because 99% of the time, they will guarantee a kill downrange because you are shooting more than one dart at once downrange. In the case of the rough cut, you got 2 darts firing at once. Or in the case of something like the shell strike or the trilogy, you can shoot 3 darts at once. And you can just have a bunch of shells loaded on you or in the blaster to just pop at somebody downrange. Another good thing to have on hand, a pump action Springer. It don't get more basic and common as that. Pump action Springers are always good because your hand is more than likely always in the ready to prime and fire position, and you also get good stability out of it as well. In something like the Rampage here, you also get a cool feature called Slam Fire. Not every pump action blaster has it, which is weird, but even still, you have the feature of Slam Fire, so if things get crazy and there's 20 zombies in front of you, all you do, you hold down your trigger and you just let it rip. Whew. It's a rush as well because it's just so much fun. But in general, pump action Springers, usually a good thing to have. There are other kind of Springers though that work for HvZ as well, like a normal slide action blaster. People say slide action usually isn't good for most situations because it's all cramped and weird. In my opinion, I really like slide action. And for something like HvZ where you're in a crowd of people, being all nice and hunched up close where you're not big and bulky and spread out can be really good in group scenarios so you're not getting in other people's way. Another option that's completely plausible is rifle style or bolt action. You get that one good long distance tag and they stay a good 50 feet away from you and never get any closer than that. Woo, you're gonna save your group a whole world of trouble. So don't ever sleep on sniper rifles. They're still pretty useful. And now I hear all the fanboys more than likely probably saying, what about the motorized one? Okay, there's a space for you motorized people too. Semi-auto motorized blasters are good because it's not as wasteful as a full auto and more stable, but you also have that higher rate of fire if you need to. But still, speaking of higher rate of fire, there are still options for that, like the good old trusty Rapid Strike, or just any full auto flywheel blaster for that matter. When you need to lay down that consistent stream of foam and keeping that zombies at bay, especially when there's just the horde charging at you, you're gonna make everybody's day better. So, not saying it's bad to be a flywheeler or part of the flywheel master race, but I'm saying you all have your place and you know what you're good for. Because that moment when you have that crazy horde of zombies coming at you, you load in your freshly loaded magazine or you got that freshly topped off hopper, whatever you have, and you just wipe that entire group out. Whew. It's gonna save you a world of trouble. What about sidearms? We've been talking a lot about big primary blasters. What about if you need extra blasters? What if, I don't know, I run out of ammo and I don't have any extra mags on me? What should I do then? Well, you should always have, in some capacity, a sidearm or secondary blaster. It can be something as simple as a pistol, or it can be something pretty close to complex as a pseudo-primary, if you will. And what that means is just, it's not your primary blaster, but it's something that your primary blaster doesn't do that you have a dedicated blaster for. So if you're rocking a Rapid Strike and your Rapid Strike runs out of ammo, well, you have, in this case of the Fury Fire, you have a Springer with a 10-round capacity that's also pump action. So, Rapid Strike jams, breaks down, whatever, toss it to the side, pull this out. Now you have 10 shots of Springer action right there. But on the flip side, if you're rocking a main Springer blaster, you might want something more along the lines of motorized blasters, preferably pistol ones, or, you know, in my case, the Venom Pros. See, having a Springer, like I said, is good, so you can have those straight, steady, continuous rates of fire, but then, if that happens to jam, and you need to just dump ammo quickly, drop the blaster on your sling, pull these suckers out from your holsters, and just absolutely wreck house. I do love these pistols. I will not lie at all. They're fun, they're zippy, and actually, if I'm remembering correctly, HvZ legal. And the cool thing is they're also magazine fed too. So you could, if you really wanted to, have extra mags for your sidearm on your person. So if it really does get crazy and you need to dump all ammo possible, now you have that capability. That's why these blasters are so good, because they're small, compact, light, and magazine fed, so you can carry extra mags. Golly, I love these things. That's besides the point. Something you should always have in mind, or should be common knowledge by now, that when you have a sidearm, the thing you really should try to go for is one-handed use, which means you can fire the blaster with one hand. That's fun. Anyway, one-handed blasters are good to have as sidearms because if you do need to aim at more than one target at once, you can do that because you have two blasters that you can fire at different times. Or if it's the case of secondary and primary, you can do something like this, where you have your primary in one hand aiming one direction, and if you need to check a corner or there's more people coming the other direction, just like that. And now you have the ability to shoot more than one target at once and not taking your eyes off a single target. Another more rare set of blasters that are still good to get your hands on because now they're actually becoming, well, more available, are double action blasters, which is a Springer blaster that you fire, or you prime and fire in one trigger pull. So if you have a case where you have a big motorized blaster and you need to fire in two directions at once, now you have that capability. And with this sucker, the Adventure Force Desperado, you can make that happen in a pinch, literally. You pinch the blaster. You get the joke? It's funny, right? The last thing to always keep in mind when it comes to HvZs, or any game type for that matter, is to just come with a good attitude. You're gonna ruin everybody else's day if you're coming in there with the whole thought that, you know, I'm gonna be the best, nobody else is good at this game, I'm gonna tag as many humans as possible, I'm gonna shoot as many zombies as possible. That's not the intention you should be coming there with. You should be coming there with, I'm gonna be playing with some pretty cool people, playing a pretty cool game, and I'm just gonna have as much fun as possible. If I shoot a few zombies, cool. If I tag a few humans, cool. At least I completed part of the objective. Like, that's what you need to be focusing on when it comes to events like this. You can have all the gear possible. You can have the biggest, craziest, most tactical blaster. You can have the smallest, simplest to use one shot that will still probably win regardless. If you don't come with the right attitude to the event, you're doing it wrong. You're there to have fun, and we're there to have a great time as a group. We're doing this as a group. That's the cool thing about this. It's not a one-man mission. You are there with other people. You're there to have a good time, and I hope to see all of y'all at our Infected event.